Hello, you're welcome back. I feel so excited doing this video because it's been so long. I sat here to talk to you guys. I'm guilty. I am so sorry for being so inconsistent. Guys, I lost my dad last year. Okay, I had to take some time off social media to heal and also bury my dead. I hope you understand. Henceforth, I'm going to be posting videos every week and I'll be here 247 to answer all of your questions. In this video, guys, I'll be showing you how to draft a basic bodice pattern. This video is very crucial because we need to start making blouses and gowns, and you need this video to understand how to make all those other ones. Okay, I'm going to show you all the rules when it comes to bodice pattern drafting. So you need to watch this video to the end, and please feel free to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. It is free, and also leave a comment in the section below. This is very important for me. It is very important for this channel. If you want the channel to grow, always leave a comment in the section. Let me know what you think about the video you just watched. Do you like it? Just let me know in the comment section. Without wasting much of our time, I'm going to take you guys to the cutting table shortly after the break. For this tutorial, you'll be needing a pattern paper, a tape measure, a pair of scissors, pen marker, curve ruler. If you have a straight ruler and an armhole curve, it is still okay, and of course a masking tape. This masking tape will help hold down your pattern paper. So this is the shoulder line. From the shoulder line to the bust point is 10 inches, depending on the size of the person you're making a dress for, but for this I am going to mark 10 inch. Then I'll use a ruler and draw a straight line. The half length is 16 inches. You can call it the waist length. So from the shoulder, I'm going to measure 16 inches. This is a 16-inch line. Then I'll use a straight ruler and draw a line. Then the full length of this blouse is 25. It depends on who you're making the dress for. Then I also use a straight ruler and draw a straight line. I'm going to mark 3 inch for the width of the neck. Then the shoulder measurement is 15 inches and divide 15 inches by 2. I'm going to mark at 7.5. Then the neck depth for this tutorial is 5 inches. Now it depends on the design you're creating. I'm just doing this, okay? You can make it 5, you can make it 6. So this is a round neck, so I'll use my curve ruler to create a small curve to give it that round neck shape that I want. Coming over to the shoulder, I'll come down by 1 inch because the shoulder is not straight. So I'm going to come down by 1 inch and I'll use a ruler and draw a straight line. For some people, you can come down by 1.5 inch mark. To get the armhole depth, you're going to divide your bust measurement by 6. Whatever you get, add 1.5 inch to that, and that will be your armhole line. So this is where our bust line falls, and I'm going to use a straight ruler and draw a straight line. This is going to form the upper chest line. Then I also use a straight ruler and draw a straight line from that chest line to the shoulder. To get your bust measurement, you're going to divide your bust measurement by 4. So this is a 9.5 mark. Now coming over to the armhole, I'm going to get the midpoint between the chest line and the shoulder. Then I'll use our curved ruler to draw a curve, connecting it from that point where we marked our bust measurement and the half of the armhole line. So this is for our back armhole. To get the front armhole, at this point, I'm going to come in by 3/4. Now, it depends on whom you're making a dress for. If you're making for a smaller person, you need to come in by half an inch. For a very fat person, you can come in by 1 inch. Then I'll also use either our armhole curve or our curved ruler and draw a curve from the point where we marked our bust all the way to where we marked the 3/4 point, all the way to the shoulder. Coming over to the bust line, I'll also mark the bust, which is 9.5. Over to the waist, whatever is your waist measurement, divide that by 4. The answer you get, add 1 inch to it for the dart. Coming over to the hips, divide the hip measurement by 4 and mark your answer. Then I'm going to use a ruler to connect all the points we marked, from the chest line to the bust line, from the bust line to the waistline, and from the waistline to the hip line. Our bust broad is 8 by 2 will give us 4. Some people call this nipple to nipple, so I'm going to mark at 4. I'm going to extend this to the waist and the bust area. From the bust point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So this is where my dart is going to start from. Then from the hip line, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. This is where my dart is going to stop. Then I'm going to draw a straight line to connect all the points that I just marked. Now I'm going to mark ½ inch on both sides. Remember, I gave 1 inch allowance for the darts, and ½ inch on both sides is going to give us 1. When I measured our waist was like 7 inch, which is 28 by 7, and I gave an extra 1 inch allowance for the dart. So that is what we're going to take away from here. So I'm going to use a straight ruler and connect the points we just marked. So for the back neck, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. This is a standard, but it depends on how low you want your back neck to be. You can make it 10, you can make it 8, depending on how low you want it to be. But also know that if your back neck is going to be down, if your back neck is going to be low, your front neck shouldn't be that low. Okay, then I'm going to add the seam allowance. Well, this is optional, you can do this on the fabric, but I want to do everything on this pattern paper so you guys get to see what it looks like. And then your seam allowance can be 0.5 inch or 1 or 1.5 or even 2. Then coming over to the shoulder, I added an extra pattern paper because I want to add a seam allowance to the shoulder. I want you guys to see how to add all of the seam allowances, okay? Then for the shoulder, I'm adding ½ inch for the seam. Now I'll use a ruler and draw a straight line. And you also need to extend your lines to match up the new line you marked. Now you guys need to understand this. The shoulder measurement I gave was the exact shoulder measurement, which was 15. And if you are cutting on the fabric, you need to add an additional allowance for the seam. You can decide to add 0.5 or even quarter. And I'm going to add that, and I'll extend it all the way to the armhole line. Coming over to the hip line, I'm also going to give a seam allowance. I'm giving like 0.5 for this pattern drafting. I'm generally going to use my curved ruler to also connect the points that I marked for the seam. I'm going to label this the seam allowance so that you guys don't get confused. This line is the seam, okay? Now to get the bust dart, I'm going to find the distance between the chest line and the waist line. Whatever is the distance, get the midpoint of that. If the distance is like 7, the midpoint should be like 3.5. From this bust point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. Then I'll use my straight ruler to connect the points that I just marked. Then coming over to the line, I'm going to mark ½ inch on both sides. Then I'll use my ruler to connect the points from that point that I came down from to the side. This 1 inch we just marked here is going to affect the length of our blouse. So I'm going to add this 1 inch back here, but I'm going to do that after I had cut out the back part. Then I'm gently going to cut on the lines that I just marked. Remember, we are cutting the back lines before we cut the front, so I just cut out the back armhole. I'm going to cut the back neck and separate this before I start cutting the front. I have a plain sheet and I also already gave 1 inch zipper allowance. If your zipper is going to be at the back, then you need to do this, but if it's going to be by the side, then there is no point doing this. Okay, then I'm going to take the front bodies that we just cut and place on this plain sheet, giving this 1 inch allowance that I marked. I'm also going to use my tape to hold it down to make sure it doesn't move while I cut out the back. And once that is done, I'm going to use the pen marker to trace the lines that we already marked on the front panel. Then the difference between the front dart and the back dart is that the back dart is going to start 1 inch from the chest line, unlike the front part. Then coming over to the hip line, I'm going to come up by 2, just like we did on the front panel. As remember, I'm coming up by 2 from the actual line, not from the seam allowance that I gave. I'm going to draw a straight line to connect the points that I marked. Just like what we did before, I'm also going to mark 1/2 inch on both sides, and I'll use my ruler and connect my points. Then I'll go ahead and cut off the excess. Now coming over to the bust dart, remember we are going to take away 1 inch from the side and we're going to add that 1 inch to the hip line so it doesn't affect the length of the blouse. Please, you guys should pay attention to every detail in this video because everything is important. Then I'm going to draw a line. I'm gently going to cut off the excess. Then coming over to the armhole, the front armhole, remember we gave 1/2 inch seam allowance for the back. We are also going to give 1/2 inch seam allowance for the front armhole before we cut. Then I'll use my scissors and cut. You can just draw your line and cut. So I'm cutting on the points that I marked. Then I'll also go over to the neck and cut. So guys, this is our front bodies and this is our back bodies. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Was the video helpful? Did you find any area difficult? Just let me know in the comment section. I will sure be there to answer all of your questions. And if you've not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe, and also don't forget to turn on the bell icon. This is very important so you get notified once a new video goes up. Until next time guys, keep crushing it and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.